If things didn't go as planned, Dio was given a contingency plan.
Well, that wasn't his original plan, though.
Cannot murder Akane in
Her original plan was to kill people.
Destroy Rhizome 9. Hence, the bombs.
Wait, so how does...
Can I ask you something?
Hey, if you want your plan to work, why don't you just immediately set off the bombs?
Right?
Why does he have to kill Akane? Isn't his plan to die too?
But he kills Akane the moment he gets there and then plants bombs. So why wouldn't you just blow up the fucking bombs immediately? Because your whole goal is to kill yourself anyway so you could be freed of your soul and then be reborn.
So I'll go back to my original explanation I told you about how I really hoped they would not go this way, and they've gone this way, which is the way that I didn't want them to go. Because once again, what I wanted them to do is say Dio was working for June the whole time. He's like an actor. Like, the idea, like, I wanted him to be a character that was in on this whole thing to set up a contrivance with these bombs because, you know, the bombs are part of their plan. It helps them train the morphogenetic fields. Yeah. The big thing that makes us actually learn the morphogenetic fields in this game is not the puzzles themselves. It is not the AB game. It is not the Nonary game. It's old Dio. It's literally the fact that it's so hard to get the password for all of the bombs in one run that we have to learn the morphogenetic fields in order to beat it. That's the entire reason this entire exercise worked. And Dio was an outside force who's stupid. Like, he's just too stupid.
So how did Brother know about the AB project?
He came in with mega bombs, and all he had to do was set them off, and he would win. But instead, he fucking goes on a mission to stab Akane instead of just detonating them all immediately. And even after he's woken up in the game, he doesn't just detonate them all immediately. He plays the game for hours. What, to set them slightly more spread out? All the contestants are in one room at the beginning of the game. If you blow them up, the game's over.
I guess his mission didn't involve him dying?
Of course it involved him dying, because they're a suicide cult.
But that's the thing, he wasn't supposed to die there. He's supposed to die later.
Because he appears to kill himself in like every other timeline.
Well, remember, he's a lieutenant, so he needs to come back and still guide the rest of the Myrmidons to kill all the rest of the humans on Earth, so that way they can then kill themselves.
But even then, he's so casual about his own death, he's like, I've got replacements. Talking about himself and everything.
I'm more confused about the idea that, like, if Brother knows about the AB project, why
didn't he break in, set the bombs, leave, detonate them, and that's it?
But how does he know?
He specifically insists on stabbing somebody and doing all this other shit that makes him, like, all of his motivations that don't seem to make sense lead to him having a super long, horrible plan that's really contrived that can be specifically solved by the contrivances of this game's story, as opposed to a plan that would actually be effective, which is, you know, just plant your bombs and, like, blow the place up and there you go, everyone's dead.
But how did...
Like, even if you don't get it with the explosion, you just compromise the moon base. So like, they're on a moon.
So 45 years ago, they
take out the part that makes oxygen.
So 45 years ago, they kidnapped all of us. Okay. Following me here?
Yeah.
45 years ago, they kidnap us. And bring us to the moon. And
they had 45 years to potentially blow us up.
They had 45 years to prevent this moon base from existing.
But they waited to the exact moment the game started, apparently.
Yes, but not only that, but Brother knew about the AB game, which I assume should be kept under wraps. I would imagine it would be a hush-hush thing to try to save the planet.
Which maybe Brother has access to morphogenetic fields, but if that's the case, then how the fuck do we ever stop Dio? Because can't they just keep changing their plan every time it fails?
Yeah, but also...
Because then it becomes the problem from... That's what makes it the problem from All You Need Is Kill.
Okay.
Where you have two time travelers that are stuck with each other, and every time either of them does anything, the other one keeps iterating forever.
Oh, great!
Have you ever read All You Need Is Kill?
No.
Because that's the difference between that and Edge of Tomorrow. Is Edge of Tomorrow only one person's looping, but in the source material, All You Need Is Kill, they both are looping.
Oh God!
And so they're trapped.
That's like
reliving each other's days forever.
That's literally impossible to get out of.
Yeah, they have to kill each other. It goes in a completely different direction.
But here's the problem: is that, like, if Brother knows about the AB game, Like, first of all, how do you get funding for this? Because do you just tell someone that I saw a vision of the future where Radical 6 gets released, everybody dies, and I'm making a team to prevent that from happening, to go into the past?
Yeah, but at first I have to let everyone die so that I can save us in another timeline.
Even though I know it's going to happen and I know who's going to do it, so I could tell you exactly who the perpetrator of this heinous crime would be.
Which they don't stop.
Okay, so if ignoring the fact that Akane literally lets people die on purpose all the time. The second fact is that Brother knows this about the AB project, but then has no concept of who is running it.
No.
Or no, he has to know who's running it because he told Dio to specifically kill Akane. So if he knows about Akane, then he theoretically should know that Akane can see into the future and that Akane already knows that he's gonna send Dio to go. What? Okay, this is why time travel is so fucking asinine, because you go into a loop.
Thanks, Kay.
Thanks,
How
Kay.
did Brother know about the AB project?
God damn it! Like, I swear!
Let's find out.
He was also an Esper.
I swear to God! Why wasn't he part of it? He would be helpful for the battery thing.
Yeah.
He would be a more interesting character.
Go kidnap Brother.
That'd be hilarious.
We can set Brother aside for now, though.
No! No, you can't! Don't do the ace thing again!
Super important.
You
can't just
son
you can't just
of
go
a
over that.
Bitch!
Also, he's
Why?
an Esper. We're still pointing more towards the idea that it might be Snake.
Not only
that he's an
that,
Esper.
that's true. Not only that, though, this motherfucking Esper, apparently...
But if he's alive right now, why isn't he in contact with Clover? Since they clearly have a connection.
Well, because they're too far. Remember the I think
But
there's
also, but does that also mean that? Well, that here's a point against that idea is that Clover was evidently doing operations against Free the Soul while her brother was the leader of Free the Soul. I don't know if that can work.
Yeah, I was thinking. I don't
think that'll work out. I'm just trying to work Snake into the story because otherwise Brother's just a villain that's made up and off camera and we have no...
And we'll never see him.
Yeah.
Not only will we never see him, he never does anything because his
unless he's
K. I can't believe you said we will set aside Brother for now.
Yeah.
You knew damn well.
It's kind of a Junpei. Boring.
Yeah, you did this.
No.
No. Game over.
Game over, man.
Oh, right.
No one objected except us.
No one objected. We were all curious.
As the audience is violently vibrating.
Look, let me tell you something as a writer. You can't tell us how to feel. We have a...
Explains everyone, save two.
Who?
And myself.
And Brother.
And Brother.
Sigma and Phi already know the truth about Luna. I don't believe I should reveal any more, however. I think it would be more appropriate if you could ask Luna yourselves at a later time. Would that be all right with you, Luna?
Yes, that's okay.
As for me, as I said before, I was born and raised here. The rest of you were brought to this facility, but I've never left.
What are you, the Fresh Prince of fucking the moon?
I was born in the moon, molded by it.
That makes me someone close to Zero Senior and Akane.
Hey, I've been wondering, who is Zero Senior?
Just
You've
imagine.
already met him, Sigma.
God damn it.
It's like, in the dark side of moon, I was born and raised. Started making plans.
These coy motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's right.
So we've already met. So that means that Zero is in this game.
Well, no, I think he's referring to the hologram that we interacted with.
Oh, that's infuriating. If that's what he means.
In another timeline.
In another timeline.
All right. Damn it.
Yeah.
That doesn't give us any information.
Well, it's a hologram. How dumb this guy looks. Fucking one eye, motherfucker.
All right.
I still don't know who he is. Okay. Are you saving? Are you not saving? Are you saving? You're not saving? Are you, what are you?
That's Sigma.
Oh, are you comparing?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. That's Sigma.
That's Sigma.
Okay.
He looks exactly the same.
Okay.
I mean, it's anime, so it's kind of rough to compare faces in general.
Wait, go back.
There's only so much detail.
Let me see the hair. It's the same hair.
Kind of. It's long. It's obviously way longer and all that.
Yeah, but I
mean, like his eyebrows are the same. His eyes are largely shaped the same. His face is shaped the same.
He's wearing Dio's jacket.
His mouth is wider in the old man version,
well,
but you know,
you know.
Old men get wrinklier and exaggerated.
Wait, why does he have?
Because they're not drawn cute anymore.
Why is he wearing a glove? His
I don't know. Because back in the day, I was totally set up for the idea of that being like Snake.
Yeah, because he has like fake arm, right?
Yeah,
like that.
Because Snake specifically has one fake arm, so I was really hoping that would be Snake.
Wait, does that mean? Oh wait.
Are you wondering if Sigma is Snake?
No. What if?
Or if Zero is Snake?
No, I'm kind of hoping that Snake got his arm replaced because now they have cybernetic arms.
Are you hoping that it's not any of us and that this whole time Zero just was Snake?
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's one of the theories we had because we saw that arm and we're like, Zero Snake? We ran with that for a while there.
Snake!
I don't know who he is.
And he's still... What's frustrating is he still could be Snake, because, yeah, that arm sets up him being Snake, and
the jacket.
The jacket looks like Snake.
And
maybe the robot eye helps him see now and repaired his vision or something, because he was blind.
He only did it to one eye? What a shitty bot.
There are a lot of points that point towards the idea of that being Snake.
Yeah. I read the line.
Yeah. I know, I'm just looking at the... I'm totally just looking at the character.
I just wanted to make... Whoa, we got some color there.
Yeah, informative color.
Is complete.
The fuck? What?
P00 unlocking.
It's her, yeah.
Like it's finished.
Oh.
We were waiting for her to open.
Oh,
Shall we
right.
open the pod.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you forgot because it was a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. All of us gathered around the pod. The glass was still covered with frost, hiding the contents.
That's not how defrosting would work, though, by the way. It would not be frosted over still.
Okay,
Maybe they meant to say vapor.
Maybe.
let's get started then. Ready?
I'm down. Oh my god, are you gonna count?
3, 2, 1.
Fee laid her hand on the lever and looked around at us. I swallowed. Yeah, anytime.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
No one counts down in real life. Ever.
I do.
No. I might shoot you.
Every time I sneeze.
3, 2, 1.
What? It's that... Akane's a boy now? I don't get it. This game is so weird.
Wait, we have...
Oh, wait, I'm right. This is us when we got kidnapped, and our mind is an old us.
Oh, it's gonna get even more annoying, isn't it? Oh, this explanation's gonna hurt me.
What?
This explanation's gonna hurt me, Andrew.
I'm ready.
Oh, I don't want to hear it. No.
I'm ready.
No.
Okay.
Suddenly my head was full of memories from the other timelines.
Are they histories or timelines?
I had seen something like this before. The warehouse at floor B, in front of the white door. Kay was lying in front of me. I grabbed his mask and I saw my own face. I never figured out who he really was. Why was there a man with my face underneath Kay's armor? It didn't make any sense. After I'd seen him, I was injected with turbocurane, and that was the end of that.
Have we lost both arms or just one?
But wait,
Both.
We've lost both.
Yeah.
All right. I was thinking for a second like that. Zero's missing one arm, maybe. So like that'd be a point towards Sigma being 0. But why would he only have one glove on one hand if they're both not real?
Because
like a weird symbol.
in that
Maybe they just have like a weird one glove religion.
if the person in the pod was the same person I'd seen on the floor of the warehouse.
It's gonna be Schrodinger's K. It's a different person in K's armor now. Whoa!
Who was wearing Kay's armor?
Oh
Zero.
my god, it is Akane in K's armor.
No. No. Fuck off. No. You can't just... No.
I can do whatever.
That's absurd.
I can do whatever I want.
That doesn't work.
I created this world. You can't tell me no.
You finally noticed. Didn't I tell you? You won't be alone. I will be at your side, watching over you.
No. Oh my god, you're...
Yes, I am.
Wait, you had the key the whole time to your own head?
Akane Kuroshiki.
Oh, my god! It was literally Schrodinger's cat. But that doesn't explain how the other Sigma was able to follow us through the whole game and then die. So did Akane... Wait.
Why?
How?
Here's the thing. They're just doing... they're just doing a twist because. But, like, why?
Yeah, why?
Why? Why is it Akane in some timelines? I understand the mechanics of how.
Well, is it Akane in any timelines? Because if
in this timeline where we saved Akane, it's Akane.
Yes.
In every timeline where we didn't save Akane, it's Sigma that's in K.
But is it Sigma?
It's that Sigma.
So what Sigma are we?
I don't know yet. That's obviously what we're building towards.
What the fuck?
But like that Sigma is the same Sigma we saw in K's armor when he died.
Yes.
Which specifically, we know that one was Sigma the whole time, that version of Sigma or whatever, because he's not only was Akane dead in those timelines, he specifically killed Dio for killing Akane. Like so every single timeline except this exact timeline, it has always been, every single time, it's been Sigma.
But did Sigma put his own armor on?
But this one time it's Akane. So I guess while they're in the timeline where you save Akane, she like, well, this is the timeline this is the real timeline apparently. So she like steals K away, puts him in a pod, and then replaces him and takes his part. What I don't get is why. Why even have this other pod? Why isn't she out of the game and then just coming in when it's time for the true ending? Like, why did she have to pretend to be K? Ever? What purpose does that serve? What are you pointing at? You thinking of something?
Because...
Did he even act different in this timeline?
No, because here's the thing. That, the Sigma that plays K, that pretends to have amnesia,
yeah.
When it's Sigma in that armor, it's 0. Because if we go with our theory that, or I guess my theory that, we swap bodies, that young Sigma swap bodies with old Sigma, and if old Sigma is 0, then that means his consciousness.
I'm sorry. No, wait. How is she wearing that dress and that armor? Is it like all hiked up, like horribly around her crotch, like in a lump, as her completely nude legs are noodling around inside the armor?
I guess so.
Like, what the fuck? That's not her dress doesn't have legs.
I don't know, man.
What does she look like getting out of it just now?
I think it just...
I want to see that cutscene. I want to see a drawing of that.
I think it just came off.
Draw. But like
the pants part just fell down.
But like she in the leggings, which are completely separate from each other, she was 2 separate legs. Also, how did she fit in that armor? I don't think that Sigma and Akane are of similar height and physique.
No.
So how the fuck did she fit in that?
I don't know
at all. This is the weakest fucking twist, and it's a double dose of weak twist. For one, I don't think it makes sense on any level, and on 2, why?
Because the Schrodinger's cat thing, dude.
None of this is like, whoa, that changes everything. I'm just like, I'm literally just looking at the twist like, what? Why?
Because it's, again, the Schrodinger's cat. They had to have...
It's you. June. I mean, Akane from... But you're old.
Yes, that's correct.
Damn, wait a...
I haven't spoken to you in a very long time, Clover.
Mostly because you were sleeping.
Junpei.
Junpei?
Akane. Long time no see.
Is this not a timeline where Clover knows that he's Junpei?
I guess not.
Because didn't he reveal himself?
I think he revealed
that one timeline where he goes with Clover.
Yes, so I think he revealed himself in a different timeline.
I could barely hear what they were saying. My mind was still reeling. It felt like all the air had been knocked out of me, and it was all I could do to not collapse right then and there.
Bullshit.
Yeah, right?
Bullshit, man. No. You can get, like, people can get on us for, like, underselling how shocked people are every time someone dies or whatever, but like this is like an earth-shattering revelation for him that she switched who was in the armor once and with no apparent consequences. Like,
yeah,
this is just the writer fucking wanking all over himself about how great his writing is. Like, oh my god, what an earth-shattering revelation, aren't you so into this?
Yeah,
it's like what was it South Park, or no, it was the Family Guy episode where Peter's like writing porn and he's like writing fiction, and he's just like, and it was so hot, and that was hot, and it was hot.
Yeah.
Like he keeps writing about how hot his own scenario is in the story. It's like, no, stop.
When? How long?
More importantly, why?
Do you remember when the two of you saved me in the warehouse?
It's literally the last thing that happened, yes.
No.
We just did it.
Oh.
Thanks for the flashback, though.
Once you saved me, you went back to your future.
They gotta get their money's worth out of that animation.
Did at least.
Just, could you,
I carried your bodies to the 3rd AB room, and then took Dio's to the 5th.
Sometimes her mouth moves.
Could you pretend to just be alive?
her fucking face
is so dead.
She's just so sad and old.
I don't think you're allowed to look like that when you are a genocidal maniac in multiple timelines.
It's just, she pulls that kind of flourish and dramatic reveal, and she's just so emotionally dead despite that.
She's so dead to see Junpei again. That person who was so important to her that she couldn't let go of a memory from when she was a child about a rabbit.
She still has passwords about him and holds on to a doll.
Yeah.
And obsesses over him, and also he saved her life. And she's like,
hello, Junpei.
Long time no see.
I am a complex human with so many feelings.
I mean,
after that, I went into the 1st room and borrowed Kay's armor.
Borrowed an
So by the time you and Clover came out, you'd already...
Yes.
So it's power armor, right?
I guess so, yeah.
It must be power armor, because she's just effortlessly holding up not only her heavy-ass armor, but Clover in her arms, like it's no big deal.
Well, it is the moon.
Like, how is he just effortlessly holding her?
It is the moon. There's,
oh, right.
Like, there's less gravity.
You're right. It's the moon. That whole thing.
It's the moon.
Even though nobody notices the waitlist list the entire game.
Right.
Wait. That doesn't make any sense. Dio killed you, and then Luna took your body to the 6th room.
Sigma, come on. Keep up.
Right.
With the part where we saved her earlier in this time. Come on.
You couldn't have been in Kay's armor.
No, it was me. In this timeline, at least. In this one, I wasn't murdered by Dio. You two saved me. It's just like Schrodinger's cat.
We get it. We fucking get it, game.
Your
Jesus.
actions in the future decided who would be inside the armor in the past.
Son of a bitch.
What? No, that's nuts.
Alright, what about the other history? The one where you weren't saved. What happens then? Who's wearing the armor?
He is.
Sigma.
That guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Fi doesn't know that, yeah.
That's quite simple. The man in front of you.
Him?
That's correct. Whenever I'm not in the armor, he is.
But why?
But
Get
how?
to the why.
How?
No, the how is easy. Except for how she's getting that dress in there.
Well, yeah, no.
But I mean, like, why is the question for me.
So wait, no, like, think about it rationally.
She somehow got time to drag him all the way over here.
She had time to carry.
Geez. So here's the question.
She had time to drag both of our bodies into the room, drag Dio's into the room, go and get his armor, and then drag him back to a pod.
All in the time scale of other people solving a puzzle, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a little what? That's a little what?
Yeah.
Isn't the garden on the floor too?
Yes. So she also had to negate all of the puzzles.
I guess maybe. Well, we've established that there's apparently robots.
Wait, she can't do that because
maybe the robots did that before the game happened, and then they all shut down.
But
maybe that's the only thing they did all game.
So does
there's robots for some reason in this game that don't do anything ever.
So does she have a spare key? Because she had to have used the key to open up the...
Well, yeah, I would assume that she has free access to everything somehow.
But she gave the key to Sigma.
And she also has...
Or she only gave the key to Sigma when she survives.
She also has pretend... she has pretend amnesia. But also, I'll remind you that she says the same things as Kay.
Yeah.
In this timeline, as if she already knows what he'll say exactly.
Well, she can see the future.
Even the other people's futures?
Yes.
It's not even her future.
Look, Keith, I just assume she's a deity. She has like god tier powers at this point.
I hate June.
Yeah, June's a terrible
character. I didn't like her in the first game, but this game makes her actively more annoying in every level. I really dislike June.
What about the memory loss?
For my part, I confess that I lied. He, on the other hand, was telling the truth. Large doses of soporil can cause memory loss. I gave him a rather large dose.
So on top of being a sleeping drug, it's also an amnesia drug.
And you purposely made him lose his memory? Is it permanent? Like, will he regain?
They never come up with a lot of problems that could be solved by just having another drug or another disease are instead solved by them giving drugs and diseases second and third functions. So like the sleeping drug's also a memory loss drug now, but only for some people.
All right.
So, who is he?
They must have timed that dose really well, by the way, so that the increased sleeping would still wear off at the same time as everybody else. But then he also gets the amnesia effect.
Yeah.
You've never seen him before?
No.
What about the rest of you?
I have no idea who he is.
Yep, here's where it's all coming in, that like, we don't look like that. So like that's, yeah, we don't look like that. Because nobody's recognizing him.
I've never seen him before.
I just want to point out that this genocidal, lying lunatic is playing Guess Who This Is with us.
Yes.
As we're standing here on the moon being devastated.
She's being a coy bastard about this entire thing. Like, isn't this crazy? Also, no one has acknowledged that we're dressed the same. Which we are.
Or are we not?
We are. We've seen ourselves struggling with people and stuff like that. We've seen our arms and shit like that, and also that part where Spy has her chest and her
right,
her head and her chest.
How is no one talking about the fact that
we're dressed identically with a weird fucking shirt, by the way?
Yeah,
like a really weird.
That's not like a
shirt,
that's a very unique shirt,
which is very easy to cosplay.
Yeah,
like I've seen cosplays of this character because it's so easy.
Total stranger.
Fi, please.
Hey, come on, what are you guys saying? Right here. Same face.
Huh? Are you all right, Mr. Sigma? Did you hit your head or something?
Huh? What? It didn't make any sense.
I swear to God, if we have that thing in our eye and never noticed.
How do you not feel that? You don't feel metal on your eye socket?
Why didn't they recognize me?
Sigma, your consciousness can jump through time. You can inhabit your body in the past or in the future.
What does that mean?
So we have the same power as Akane, where we can travel to other parts of our own self.
Yeah.
So we're playing as old us.
Don't you get it?
And that guy's totally a clone of us. We're a fucking narcissist.
Do we get it? Akane, obviously fucking not.
It's a weird thing to just have someone accept.
If we got it, we would have figured out who fucking Zero was.
You've jumped to the future?
What? Jump? Excuse me, Samurai Jack? What the fuck do you mean jump to the future? When did we jump to the future? When did that happen? Can you explain? And
wait, are we about to get... Oh no. Don't do that. Are they about to give us like a Schrödinger Sigma? Where they're like, young Sigma and old Sigma are the same Sigma because one of them went to sleep and the other one didn't from the same timeline somehow? Because we've had two versions of Akane exist in the same timeline before, where young Akane still has to be saved, and yet old Akane has already escaped from the thing that young Akane was supposed to die from in the first place.
Yeah.
Despite that. Are we both the same Sigma from the same timeline?
There's
just one of us.
Wait, yeah, how does that work? How does
one of us went to sleep and the other one didn't, even though like I don't know how you split people, but we split people with June already.
How would that...
Because she somehow got split in the first game.
Yeah, how is there 2 Sigmas at one time unless one's a clone? Okay.
From 45 years ago.
Excuse me, what?
They're saying we jumped forward in time.
I looked around frantically. A pond, which I've never used to look at myself the entire time we were here before.
We've literally looked at water and several reflective surfaces in this game, including this one.
We also looked inside of this one, specifically head on.
How did we not notice our own reflection?
Because that's not convenient.
I ran to it and threw myself down into my knees, crawling on all fours. I approached the edge. My heart was hammering inside my chest. A cold sweat trickled down my spine. Calm down, calm down, calm down, damn it. I struggled to take deep breaths, and apparently struggled to just look in the pond!
Seriously.
I peered into the pond looking for my reflection.
The fucking right I was! Okay, so...
How did he never notice?
Oh my...
He has a metal thing.
He is wearing the same outfit! You stupid fucks didn't notice that!
No,
none of you noticed I was wearing the same jumpsuit?
Yeah, no one comments on them wearing the same clothes. He's also got a metal eye, which... 2 questions. 1, how did he never notice he was wearing that? 2, how did no one ever mention that a single time? It's kind of a conversation piece.
Wait.
The metal eye.
No.
Everyone talks about the other guy's armor.
No. Even more confusing, Tenmyoji and Quark went into the same fucking room and saw the same hologram, theoretically, as we did, and they didn't say anything to us.
I don't know if they did see those or not.
They had to have seen those.
It might have been only set to activate for him.
What?
Because it's himself.
How?
To tell himself about things.
How the oh my god.
Why is he proselytizing or whatever? Why is he trying to sell us on his own views then? If once we remember who we are, we're just gonna know everything. Except, well, I guess because we're a different version of ourselves.
Yeah, because we're from the past.
But how, seriously, how the fuck does the audience of this game accept the fact that Sigma just went the entire game, 1, without ever noticing that he was a weird, frail-looking old man, which affects how your entire body looks, by the way.
And feels.
Like, you don't just have weird, weird young... I mean, I guess he has young arms because they're robot arms? Which, like...
That's the convenience. That's like the contrivancy.
Did he
is that
literally
like
go through the length of cutting his arms off and giving him robot arms just to make them look younger for this one part of the puzzle?
Yeah.
But they didn't do anything to deal with the fact that at any moment Sigma might notice he has a robot eye.
What does it look like when you look through that eye?
Apparently the same.
The same?
Literally the same.
How?
Like indistinguishably normal. Somehow.
How is it indistinguishably normal, but it looks like
also,
a fucking
Sigma
cyborg eye?
That he has like super long hair overnight. Yeah. He thought no time passed, but I would fucking notice if my hair went from being like slightly shaggy to like that.
Also, you didn't touch yourself at all?
Ever?
You didn't go like, huh, that's a lot of wrinkles on my face. Like, you didn't at any point check to see in what state you were in? Like, you didn't pat yourself down?
I feel like you could just feel older.
That's what I'm saying! You would feel your organs being old.
I feel like if you teleported into an older body, you might notice your body feels wrong. But seriously, he's wearing a metal eyepiece! This whole narrative... Almost every other part of this would be easier to accept, just if that thing didn't exist, which I don't know why it does. Why'd they give him a metal eyepiece?
Because he looks cool as fuck!
But his metal eyepiece, like, breaks the story more than any other part of that. Is like, how?
He's also missing an eyebrow.
They also kept a copy of that shirt for 45 years.
That's gross.
So that they could have a duplicate copy for him to wear.
I still can't.
As if he wouldn't know he was him and if he was wearing a different shirt.
I still
like, if they changed his pose, he'd be like, that's not me.
Yeah.
I must be a clone. Like, or something.
I cannot believe that no one noticed that. No one mentioned that he was wearing the same clothes as this guy in the pod. No one was like, hey, Mr. Sigma, you're wearing the same clothes. At the very least,
that was just this scene. Nobody mentioned the entire game in any timeline that he has a robot eye. Which is, once again, I'll remind you, a fucking conversation piece.
You know what? It's also a conversation piece because literally no one I'm assuming that in the timeline where they all came from 45 years ago, robot eyes weren't the thing to have.
No. So like, for people that are in like the modern-ish time, they've never seen something like that before. This crazy steampunk man that walked into their escape room.
Yeah.
Everyone else looks vaguely normal.
They didn't even know about the robot arms.
There's two women that dress strangely, a guy in armor and a guy with a robot eye, like he's from a steampunk cartoon, and nobody commented on the latter.
Yeah, but also remember everyone reacted scared when we cut my arm off, and he was like, everybody was like, oh, he has a fake arm? I have a fake eye, you idiot! Why would you be shocked by the arm?
I had the entire game.
No one was surprised by the. Everyone thought we were a robot because of our arm being fake, not our eye. The Cogni robot didn't even go like, "Hey mate, you got a good eye there." Like nobody said anything. Fuck you. I'm not taking it. No, fuck you. I deny it. I'm returning it. I want an exchange. Give me a new one. Give me a new plot twist.
Give me a new plot twist.
You are not allowed to use this one. I want a refund.
I had a point where it settled in for me where I was like,
oh no,
this plot twist. No, I had a moment where I was like, okay, this explanation for the whole AB game and everything, it's okay. And I'm like, I guess if the game just ends here, we're kind of okay. Then I'm like, oh no, there's like hours left, aren't there? They're gonna reveal so much shit that's gonna make it so much tougher.
You know, I feel kind of bad because like, a part of me is happy I was right. But but
it got worse than you thought.
The rest of me is so disappointed in everything else. Like,
no, this can't be real.
You know what would be cool? You know what would be fucking cool? I'm gonna be real mad with you right now. You
What's
know what would
that?
be fucking cool?
What's that?
Is they just had him actually start talking now.
With a voice?
Yeah.
Someone's tired of voice acting.
No, I think that would be the only cool thing you could do in this situation.
If we just suddenly started talking.
Yeah, and we realized that the reason that they didn't have voice acting is because he even sounds old.
Yeah.
Which actually, wait, no, you can't because that would break the flow of things. How come Sigma didn't realize that he sounded old?
Yeah, he literally hasn't heard his own voice. There's so many things.
This face.
It's your face,
Well,
Dr. Sigma Climb.
Sigma last name's Climb?
Sigma Climb?
What the fuck? I want a redo.
Two milkmen go comedy and his name is Milk Backwards.
Get it? Two milkmen go comedy because there's two Sigmas? Two climbs go comedy.
His name is Milk
Wait,
Backwards.
comedy? What's a thing? What's an anagram for comedy?
Doctor. I don't know.
Wait.
No, it's not. It's don't try to do it. It's not. It's not.
No, it's not doctor.
Are you fucking riding on your own like armrest right now?
Yeah.
Dr. Sigma Climb. Oh my goodness.
There's
so many reasons why he would have noticed sooner.
There's like a million
so many reasons
he would have figured this out.
First of all, just to add another little bit of like normal, like just because like every now and then you like look at normal human interactions and think about how they might affect things. You're gonna tell me that this guy who genuinely hits on women on a regular basis in this game and clearly is interacting with a social interaction with a bunch of strangers never even a single time thought like I'm gonna fix my hair for a second, like try to find a reflective surface to fix his hair, because like I know that speaking as somebody that has medium length hair in real life, I get conscious on a regular basis of what shape it has formed in my time since I last looked at it at times, and they clearly like break off for an entire middle part of this game to like hang out and have conversations and have drinks and wander around, and he keeps hitting on women and stuff like that, and at no point is he like, what's my hair like right now? Because he clearly has like hair of a length where he has to pay some attention to it or it'll be a weird cloud. And turns out his hair is even longer and he never noticed somehow. And he never tried to fix it, which would have made him realize that his face is not right.
Well, comedy apparently has no anagrams, just a heads up.
Just the word comedy on its own?
The word comedy on its own has no anagrams.
Although, to the you that's behind it now, it's your face 45 years from now.
So Sigma's so fucking...
So he transported himself into the future.
So we've been going on in this entire game about how stupid and unobservant and idiotic Sigma constantly is.
Yes.
But in addition to everything else, he never noticed he had moon gravity or wasn't in his own body. Or had a robot eye. Just to add to the pile.
Or had robot arms.
Just to add to his like leaderboard.
Do robot arms
They supposedly feel because of the nerves.
But
that's why they need its blood, is to have nerves in it that you can apparently feel.
You can't at no point you like pushed your arm and like noticed it.
That'd be weirder behavior. I can excuse that.
Well, no, you kind of do that thing where like, you know, you check yourself and be like, whoa, what happened? Like I got knocked out. You kind of like pat yourself down to make sure everything's okay. Oh.
Zero. The mastermind of the AB project.
Why the glove though?
Why do you have the bracelet on still?
He has the bracelet on in that version. Wait, what?
Do you just keep it on forever from
What's
here
with
on?
the weird hoops on his belt?
Those are handcuffs.
Why does he look like he's a fucking clubber?
He is a clubber.
Like he's going to a rave. Like what's the weird pants?
He's going through time and
he's
clubbing
got a fucking
down.
side belt and like chains and shit on him, like my brother when he was 17.
But he has a turtleneck on?
He's got knee pads and like snow boots.
Yeah, he has like giant
Look how thick those fucking boots are.
They're really thick.
Look at how not far the toes go and how really far the shins go.
Oh, maybe they're like gravity boots. They keep them like...
That could be.
Is you.
Well, like...
What? No, that's not possible. That's bullshit.
No.
Should they really be unfreezing the body? My consciousness is not inside.
It's the truth.
Yeah, it's a good... Well, I mean, Kay walks around...
Going to do you any good.
Oh wait, that version, right.
Yeah, because...
That's not me, that's Kay.
Yeah,
a clone
apparently.
of me, presumably. Because when they talk about the normal body, they mean my past. We have to go all the way back to the car.
Yeah.
Please, Doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
You will be.
I'm only a PhD student. Was that supposed to be foreshadowing that he's a PhD student?
Yeah, but we have no idea that a doctor was the one who set up the Nonary game, so
didn't.
why the fuck would we even care about Sigma being... The only thing that Sigma being a PhD student did was make us disappointed he even managed to get into college without unobservant he was in half the time.
A pioneer in the field of genetic engineering.
What?
You're lying.
No, I'm not. You created him. Well, I suppose I should say you are going to create him.
Wait, so that
Create?
His name is Kyle Klein.
the
Your clone.
I mean, we knew that, more or less, at this point, yeah.
I didn't want it to be true, though.
We thought he was the clone ever since the fucking...
The K thing.
First time we saw his face, yeah.
That is why he looks just like a younger version of yourself.
What an egotistical
23
piece of
years
shit.
ago, in the biolab here in Rhizome 9, you created Kyle. Well, I suppose for you, that's still in the future.
You created...
When I said I was born and raised here, I was still pretending to be him. The gravity here is only 1/6 of Earth's. If nothing was done, the reduced gravity would cause his bones to be weaker than normal human ones. But you prepared for that. You gave him that armor.
He has to live in the armor his entire life to make it so he would have dumb bones?
Dumb bones.
But, like, that's also that he can, what? So he can go back to Earth? But Earth's radical sixth. And also we're gonna unmake that timeline. What are they conditioning him for by making him wear armor his entire life?
I don't know.
He's never going to Earth, is he?
I mean, that's just the excuse of why the K armor exists.
Yeah, I know, but of course I'm analyzing the actual explanation.
No, that's not the point.
Makes sense, which it doesn't.
Keith, the point is, like, now you know why the K armor exists. Shut up and endure.
This game's full of those explanations where it's like to offend people, I guess. When I have religious conversations with my grandfather, he'll give me some one-off explanation of why one thing's a certain way. Then I'll ask the obvious logical follow-up question, and he'll be like, "What?" And that's what this game's explanations tend to be. They have like a prepared response that is like, "Oh yeah," and then if you're not an inquisitive person, you'll hear that one explanation and be like, "Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense." And like that covers the one thing I had, and you won't question the actual explanation itself because it addressed the question you had.
Yeah.
And you'll just stop there.
By the way, that means you idiots who like Zero Escape and won't question anything and tell us not to question anything. That's what you are.
So they made a clone that was stuck on the moon forever for some reason, which no part of genetic engineering seems to actually factor into their plan of doing like the whole time travel thing.
Yeah.
So the clone seems to literally not be important.
Well, he's a lab assistant, I guess.
They couldn't just have another person?
Wait a second.
Do they not know any more people? They have to make new ones?
They do. No... They know literally 8 people who could have been helpful to this project. I'm sorry, 7 people who could have been helpful to this project.
You have to subtract Ace and 9?
No, I have to.
Previous game? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm subtracting Ace and Kane.
Oh, right.
9 doesn't factor because he died immediately.
Yeah, but he's part of the 7.
Oh, I guess.
Part of the 9. So the 6 people, I guess.
6 people.
I'm just saying, like, they knew, surely they knew other people. They didn't have to make a person.
Could have brought Snake.
And making people doesn't seem to be related to the plan? So it's just, we just incidentally are genetic engineer because.
I think cloning had something to do with creating the cure for Radical 6. I would imagine.
Do you think there's clones of us on every single one of those like 50 stations?
Yeah, I bet there's a clone of us, and it's all.
It'd be really embarrassing if one of the other ones
what if they created
faster?
What if they created a bunch of clones of us because we are espers and we can all work in different laboratories and communicate to one another about our progress on the situation?
Oh, you mean like they're all happening at the same time and there was no time travel?
Yeah.
And no alternate dimensions?
Yeah.
That makes them not different histories, though. That makes the alternate histories a lie because they're not different histories.
No,
the same history.
I mean,
in the same world.
when we were doing the research to cure Radical 6, we just have a bunch of like Sigmas going around talking to one another like they're in like a local network. It's just like Sigma 6.
It's like a really horrible thing to do to a child.
Well, it's not a child, it's you.
No, he was a child. He talked about having a childhood.
Oh, yeah.
He said he had a childhood which we were questioning the fact that in his childhood he was running around in like
oh yeah, that's right, he was wearing in the armor.
Apparently he always has been in that armor even as a child.
Man, that's expensive. How expensive did you have? How much money?
This poor kid has been like doomed to be like the man in the iron mask his entire life.
Yeah.
Just so he could have like earth bones, even though like he'll never be. Even though he's never going to be on Earth anyway, because Earth is doomed, so he wouldn't want to go there anyways.
Earth is not only doomed, but will only be fixed by him not coming to existence.
Yeah, because we're going to undo this entire timeline, which means he'll never live.
So I don't know
what armor, the armor served in the storyline, but also is it weighted armor or power armor?
Both.
Because it specifically makes him stronger by multiplying his weight by like 6, basically, right?
Yeah.
Because he has to be like a normal Earthling.
Yes.
But then Akane's in it, and she's like still effortlessly picking up other people, like she is currently weightless.
Well, because the people are still weightless.
Yeah, but she still has to be so strong. She's holding up that armor while also holding up a person and everything.
Is it? All she has to do is just hold the armor regularly.
The armor is designed to make her heavy enough to compensate for being 1/6 her weight. It's a big deal.
Well, yeah, but you're forgetting that Clover or whoever she picks up literally doesn't weigh anything. So it's just her holding her arms up.
I mean, she doesn't literally weigh nothing. She weighs a 1/6 of her old weight.
Have you seen Clover? That means she literally weighs nothing.
Ever since he was born, he's lived inside of it.
That's child abuse, June. I know you're not familiar with that because you were abused as a child, so you don't really have a good judge at this point. Are you really
gonna say that's child abuse? Not creating a clone on the moon to only exist to be in a death game? That's not child abuse?
I mean, everything about it's child abuse, but also raising somebody to be in armor like they're like a polio child or something. Just forcing somebody into an affliction is pretty fucking child abusey. On top of all the murdering she does.
I want to point out
his muscles and bones strong.
What are you trying to point out?
I want to point out that I know right now, this moment, there are several people typing a message, and they're going to complain to us specifically.
I mean, when we play. I'm definitely gonna have complaints about how this whole thing would have been over in 10 minutes if we weren't talking.
No, well I know, but
2 hours.
I want to point out because we're gonna get the comments, and I don't want them to exist, even though they will. But I want to counter the argument right now. Telling us that when we play Zero Time Dilemma, it will make sense is not an excuse. You cannot excuse away a poorly explained fucking plot by just saying, the next game explains it because we didn't know that game will exist when we play virtual.
Also, I hate this version where like people are like, you can't criticize anything because you have to beat the entire game first in order to criticize anything. What about people who played it when it came out? But then people are like, you have to beat the entire trilogy before you criticize anything. It's like, fuck, man. Sure, yeah, nothing can be criticized ever, and that means no commentary happens.
Man, you know what was really weird? That one time that
if you guys want, it's a little late to suggest this again, but like if you guys want a silent playthrough, they're on YouTube already. They were on YouTube before we did this, and if you had the thought to check them to look for one, it was there.
But that's the thing.
It was easy.
They want
but they're here for this.
They're here for the reactions, but they want our reactions toned down.
People keep asking, why do you do this, and why do you continue the series, and why don't you cancel it and stuff like that. But it's continually.
Why don't you cancel it? That's not how this channel works. Have you been here?
It's continually, both for 99 and Zeroscape, it's one of the most popular playthroughs on the channel at the time that it's happening. Like, noticeably more popular than several other playthroughs, which means people clearly are into this shit no matter how much they say they're not.
Yeah, it's also...
He wasn't forced into it for the Nonary Game.
Oh, well...
He's been wearing it every day, all his life.
That makes it so much better.
Yeah, like, that doesn't make it better at all!
Jesus.
Just so you know, I'm a total monster.
But,
right now, Junpei's like, what the fuck, June? Yeah. Can I unsave you? Can I just go back and unsave you?
He can, because he has the power.
Oh my god!
He's also an Esper, and he's a strong one at that, so he's already shown he can interact with previous timelines. He could probably go far enough back in the future and kill Akane.
Why would future me create a clone?
He was to be your spare.
Excuse me?
What happened to you before the project began? He would take your place.
So you literally...
You're literally as much of a villain as Left is.
You were like worse than Left.
We're as bad as Left and Brother. Like, everyone in the storyline is a garbage person.
You created life, and then made it suffer through wearing armor, and, like, basically being a backup. You made it to be a backup that would take your place in the event you died.
This is what the villains do in storylines. Like, I've seen, I can't recall which movie it was or show or whatever, but I've seen storylines where somebody, like, essentially creates a clone of themselves or raises a child for the purposes of possessing it later, basically. So they can take their body from them. Where that's like the whole point. I've definitely seen that before, and they're supposed to be the villains of the story.
Rick and Morty?
I mentioned before that the AB projects A and B stood for after and before. That isn't all they mean, though.
Great, let's do more. Letters mean whatever the fuck is in the entire chapter of that dictionary.
Actually,
the Q means quantum.
AB game means a bad game.
The A also means anima, and the B means body.
The fuck?
Sure, why not?
What?
Who cares?
Wait,
anima
what?
Is another word for the soul or the consciousness. Body is, well, exactly what it says on the tin. The past consciousness will go into the future body, and the future consciousness will go into the past body. They switch. That was the chief goal of the project.
Wait, they switch?
Yeah, so right now...
Wait, so old version of us is currently hanging out in young Sigma's body?
Wait, wouldn't that mean that old Sigma is currently undoing this current timeline?
Wait.
Why would old Sigma just hang out? Wouldn't old Sigma want to...
Yeah, if we switched... If young Sigma's still in the past, because old Sigma switched with him, doesn't that mean old Sigma skipped into the back in time, and means that he can just undo everything and the entire AB game doesn't have to matter?
But then also, we get erased... Wait, how does that... Wait, hold on, how does traveling consciousness work in time in terms of...
Yeah, I thought we would just go back and override our old selves or take control for a while like Wolverine, but apparently we're doing this thing where, like, you switch consciousnesses.
How does...
So this whole time that we've been doing the AB game, the older version of us that knows everything is inhabiting our young body before the Radical Sixes happened and could just be done doing all the problems therefore making it not necessary. But also, why are we revving up our engines with slingshots or whatever the fuck to travel back in time ourselves if we already sent the old version of ourselves back in time already? Like, that's crazy. That's like a contradiction, isn't it?
So I need to...
Why do we need... Did they already rev themselves up to send the old version of us back in the first place to replace the young one so that the young one would be here?
I need to verify something.
What the fuck? Wait, what?
So okay, so we got old and future Sigma. So old and future Sigma switch places, right? And then so future Sigma is now in the past with the past Sigma in the future.
The future conscious will go into the past body. They switch.
So if future Sigma removes the...
Because Sigma's old, we know that Sigma did not get frozen. Because he lived a whole life of getting old and everything.
Yeah.
Which means that, yes, right now, old Sigma has traveled back into our young body. Which...
But wouldn't that...
Doesn't that mean that he... I have two questions there. One, doesn't that mean he can just solve the problem, meaning that none of this is necessary? But two, doesn't that mean... How did they get him... How did they send Sigma back?
But wouldn't that... Okay, so here's my thing.
Like,
so
they have this whole explanation that you need the slingshot effect of Radical 6 just to send someone back in the first place after revving them up for an entire game, right?
Yes.
But then how did the old Sigma go back in the first place to cause this whole game to happen? Which was not us going back, that's old Sigma going back.
Because
without the Nonary game?
Because when
doesn't that mean that he had the power to go back far enough to just solve everything then? Because we didn't go back, we didn't go forward in time voluntarily. Old version of us had to come back and make us switch.
Is the idea that old Sigma is stuck in a sleeping Sigma's body and Sigma is sleeping until we're done with
Why
this
didn't
game?
old Sigma switch with the version of us that wasn't knocked out?
Why?
But no, I don't think that Sigma was ever knocked out, though, because he's complicit in the whole plan.
So the idea was to scare Sigma into the point of him sending his consciousness into the future? So the gas was there to scare Sigma so that he would, like, basically freak out
But even
enough.
if that's happening, are you saying that sending your consciousness into the future is, like, almost effortless, but you have to do crazy shit to send it back?
Yeah.
Because that's brutal, by the way, because that means that you could just be like, oh, shit. Scary raccoon scared me around the street. Now I'm 80 and I can't go back. I skipped most of my life. Fuck.
But no, but
like that would be what happened, right?
But here's the problem.
Get startled one bad time and then you're just like, oh shit, I'm an old man now. I skipped my life.
But so if future Sigma is in the past and he goes and erases Radical 6.
Oh, there's gonna be long comments on this one.
Which
some
means
people
that,
like bending over backwards to try to explain this shit.
Yeah, so
this doesn't work.
No,
it
stop.
literally on a surface level doesn't work.
Let me explain this. So future Sigma has gone into the past, and by all accounts, if you're planning this the way you did, there'd be no reason why you would keep past Sigma asleep while past
Sigma wasn't asleep. Because he had to do
well, the gas kicked into his car, and I'm assuming the gas is knockout gas.
But he wasn't unconscious for 45 years.
Well, no.
Because he did the whole thing where he raised K and everything.
I know.
He had a whole life,
The point I'm saying is that we're doing all of this, and by the time we finish this...
48? No, 68. We're 68 years old.
So...
Fuck! That face is supposed to be a 70-year-old? Holy shit.
So here's my problem. Future Sigma is in the past. Future Sigma knows how to eradicate Radical 6 because he's a doctor.
Yeah.
And he has the cure, which is a laxavir.
Yeah, so like so if he already could go to the past, apparently to switch us in the first place to cause this whole game to happen, why isn't he already fixing the problem?
Well, here's the problem, is that if he fixes Radical 6, it would erase the timeline that current Sigma's in, which would then erase future Sigma from existence, which leaves the old Sigma's body empty of any host because the future Sigma would die immediately.
No.
How?
There's some logic to what you're saying, but that's not really how they ever deal with time travel.
So then, what will happen when past Sigma goes back to the past?
I would say
when the future has been altered to change. Or is future Sigma not altering the future and watching it happen?
Despite having multiple dimensions, apparently when you alter the future, it just alters. Because like the whole part where we saved June and now she's here right now in front of us. Like, apparently shit just does change when you change the past in the same timeline, even though there's also alternate dimensions. So, presumably, if he stops the whole future from happening, then he kind of stops the entire Nonary game from happening, because it doesn't have a reason to happen at that point.
But what happens to us? because our consciousness is from the past but stuck in the future, but we don't have anywhere to revert to.
If we save the entire planet, does the Nonary game still have to happen to complete the loop? Kind of like how we still had to do the loop to save Akane in 99. So I think
how would that work though? Like,
so I think that if we save the entire planet, I think that everything that we're doing right now still doesn't change because Sigma still does the entire Nonary game at this point in the timeline. Because if he didn't, then the loop wouldn't complete.
But then nothing happens.
Because that's what they did with June and Akane.
Because doesn't that mean then that he goes into the past, and when the other Sigma from the past goes into the future, like future Sigma would then go into the past, and past Sigma would go into the future, but the future's fine? Okay, look.
The story of this game's infuriating.
I'm gonna be real with you. You need to stop the time travel shit. You don't understand how to write it. And I'm not gonna keep tolerating fans coming out here with some hot takes about how to fucking comprehend what is clearly broken. This is a broken logic system.
Once we start jumping bodies, things start getting really messy.
You can't. This is like this is a paradox that goes beyond Akane's paradox. This is like an old.
They had a decent premise when they started this.
Yeah,
which is the idea of you do an escape room thing, but there's multiple timelines, and you can see, just observe what goes wrong in other timelines and correct it because of that.
Yes,
that works.
Yes, it does.
But the moment that the Akane twist happened at the end of 999, the entire franchise has become irreversibly, nonsensically convoluted and doesn't have any sort of internal or external logic to it that can really explain what its mechanics even are. Like, up until that moment, it actually worked. But that moment, the moment that Akane's twist about having young Akane needing to be saved, broke the franchise, and it can never be fixed. And so here we are doing it again because they have to, because it's sequels and all that. And it's just even more nonsensical because it didn't even make sense the first time.
It raised the stakes of its own nonsensical paradox. How do you make a more paradoxical paradox?
I don't even know.
Is that your goal? Are you just being an ass?
Let's power through for a bit.
Let's go.
Wait, so the future person goes into the past person?
Sigma, do you remember the note you found in the garden?
You mean this, right?
Yes. Ah, of course, it was you who investigated the garden in this timeline.
Yeah.
Sigma, take a good look at this. It's an illustration of the time jumps your consciousness is making.
Nevada test site.
What a not infuriating looking fucking diagram at all.
So we were at we were at the Nevada test site? Or are you talking about the Nevada?
We have A, B, C, D, and E between Rhizome 9 and Nevada test site.
But look at how it goes.
Oh my god, this is gonna be a mess.
So first he goes to Nevada test site. Then his consciousness jumps to B, which is when Rhizome 9 comes into existence. Then he travels all the way to the future.
Okay, so the first thing that happens is we get.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Then he travels.
So our initial kidnap scene apparently happens. Then we wake up in the Nonary game. We complete the Nonary game. So from B to C is the entire game we just played, I assume.
No, A to C.
No.
Or B to, yeah, I guess B to C.
Yeah, B to C is the entire game we've played. Like the video game part of this game.
Okay.
So then so what's going to happen now is we're going to go back to some point called D, which I don't know what that is, but maybe that's the part of time where you maybe it's the part of time where you solve Radical 6, or maybe it's where we go.
I think E is where we solve Radical 6.
Oh wait, no, yeah, we go back to B. So we're going to go from D to B. Because once we've finished living through the Nonary game, we're now going to go back and live our life up until now, because somebody has to do that part, basically. Then we're going to loop back around to A and live from that point up to D, apparently.
Well, no, there's a split, though. Because E has two ways. The split
is apparently where we save.
Because there's two different timelines.
But somehow a split, so I guess it's where we save the world. Is that E?
Okay, so
E must be saving the world, right?
E is saving the world, and C is what happens to old Sigma. So we create a diversion in the timeline where we save the world, and then time just goes on with a saved world.
Yeah, because old us has to live out Sigma's life.
Yeah, but then there's another. Then old us has to continue going forward. Then there's another divergence where the continuation has to happen for this whole circle to exist.
I gotta say, like, so you hate time travel storylines?
I do.
I love time travel storylines. I'm
sorry.
Like
because it never works
Looper,
the majority of the time.
I love watching Doctor Who. I love so many versions of time travel storylines. This is infuriating. What the fuck is this?
Look, Keith, I think you just don't have the brain to comprehend how majestic this time travel is.
This reminds me of that time travel movie that people pretend to like. But nobody actually likes it. Like, nobody's ever physically enjoyed watching the movie because it's unenjoyable.
You're talking about that one, the box, right?
But everyone likes to say they liked it because it makes them feel smart.
That box one?
The one we saw on Netflix that one day.
That one sucked.
The one the hyper-complicated, over-convoluted, insane time travel movie.
Wasn't that...
where you have to draw diagrams like this to even understand what happened in it.
But didn't we, like, sit down for a long time and actually discuss, like...
Yeah, it wasn't going well.
Didn't we go, like, through
detailed explanations of it, and even those weren't going well.
Yeah.
And when I finally found a video essay that explained it in great detail, it was like horrifyingly convoluted and just not interesting as a story at that point to even try to figure it out, understand it on that level.
I think I remember it being like you had to like take so many steps back to make one step forward. Like, it was a thing of, like...
And they were doing shit like putting time machines inside of time machines to make duplicates of time machines that go back in time that could change how time worked, and...
It was, like... I think the movie was made on purpose to, like... I think it's an autism test.
No,
it wanted to
that's
see,
not...
It wanted to see who was, ridiculous enough to go through every minute detail of every single thing. And if you like,
it's not what autism is. Don't go into that. Don't do the Don't do the really fucked up.
Go next. Go next.
The whole internet meme about autism is like really offensive.
Where everything began. December 25th, 2028.
You talk any fucking faster. I don't have time for this.
We do though. We do.
Smoke in your car and lost consciousness. From there, you jumped to B. January 25th, 2074. You woke up in one of the AB rooms in Rhizome 9. You are in your own body, but it is 67 years old. Your consciousness has jumped 45 years into the future.
It's almost like we weren't listening to the plot.
I believe that may explain why you didn't notice the reduced lunar gravity. The body you woke up in was much older. Normally, you would have noticed that your muscles were much weaker. In this case, however, the lower gravity balanced that out.
But you can't keep doing this really weak explanation that only applies to one person constantly. Because see, they're having the attention to detail, be like, whoa, how'd you not notice your new body, man? It's because you're on the moon. Whoa. But why did not everybody else then notice the difference?
But Keith, they all did notice it. They just didn't follow through with the thought.
Apparently there's a significant difference between being yourself at a young age and being yourself at an old age in physical feeling, so much that it's literally the difference between being on Earth and being on the moon, and yet nobody else who did not change bodies noticed that we went from Earth to the moon.
It's irrelevant. Just keep going.
Radical 6, because they're double explaining it. They claimed Radical 6 is why no one noticed it.
Yes.
But that doesn't account for the double problem of us having both Radical 6 and being old. So it's like so many layered...
Yeah, but remember, the people didn't notice it because the people did notice it, but they passed it off as just muscle soreness from the gas that they inhaled.
No.
So it all checks out.
Not even vaguely. Don't you look so... You're doing your defeated voice.
I just don't... No, I don't care anymore.
If you continue along this line, what happens next? You reach C, which is January 27th, 2074. That is today.
Oh.
Whoa. Wait, what do you mean? Are you saying it's been 2 days since we woke up?
36 hours to be exact. Have you already forgotten? You were all infected with Radical 6.
And no one's been drinking anything? Why isn't everyone exhausted?
No one's drinking, no one's peeing, no one's eating. They haven't eaten for 2 days.
Yeah, no one's eaten or drunk or peed or shat
or slept.
Done human things for 2 days straight and hasn't noticed somehow.
Well, Radical 6 must be a real good upper.
Yeah, apparently it even affects like peeing.
So yes, 36 hours of real time have passed. But to you, it only seemed like 14 hours and 40 minutes.
Wait, what?
Are you?
They're doing the math.
Shut the fuck up. Are you telling me that we only had 9 hours to do 999, but these fucking assholes got 14 hours to do their stupid little Nonary game? What the fuck's up with that?
They didn't have time for anything. They just got to go for it. Well, yeah, there was time limits that were just like random, arbitrary intervals, which I don't know how they picked those.
Wait, were those real time limits?
This specific interval has to be 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm like, why?
So were those lying then? Because when you say 10 minutes,
every minute of that passing was actually 6 minutes. Yeah.
So you would.
The watches are programmed to move at 1/6 speed. Yep.
So you accounted for the math of 1/6 speed.
If you think we're frustrated with how much time they waste and how infuriating they wait for the last second and everything, imagine watching that in real time, where they're wasting astronomical amounts of time.
It literally
as, like, hours pass.
You mean it took Sigma? How long? How long is a second?
6 seconds.
6 seconds.
Everything's 6.
6.
It's radical.
It took Sigma a minute to press ally.
Yeah, usually.
Because it's always counting down from 10.
Man, if
so
you
it's
think
like 10.
Yeah, listening
9.
to her count down from 10. Imagine how that annoying that is when she's saying it in slow motion for a full minute.
But I'm imagining like you can watch the tapes and Sigma's sitting there for a full minute.
For a full minute, they're like, "Is he okay? Is he gonna press it?"
And then like,
oh god, we're all doomed.
Then suddenly at 1 second, he just goes like. With like hyper speed, because there's one. As soon as it says 1, we click ally. So like, in just a blink of an eye, he suddenly moves at like lightning speed to press a button, which I guess explains why nobody knows what he pressed.
I mean, no, he doesn't move at lightning speed. He moves at normal speed, but actually he moves at 1/6 the normal speed. There's no fast forward element of this. I don't know where you're getting that from.
So there's a build up. So at 1 second, so at 1 second,
the 1 second move
for 6 seconds,
he's slowly going towards it for 6 seconds.
For 6 seconds, he's just pressing a button.
After this, your consciousness will return to the past.
Spoiler alert!
Re-emerge at point D.
God,
which is still the future.
Yeah, it's not. You didn't.
I thought the whole goal. Because A is when we got kidnapped, or whatever. Yeah. I thought the whole goal was to go further back than that to solve the problem.
No, we're gonna go to D.
We're gonna go somewhere in the future from there.
Wait, no, hold on, shut up. The most important part is you're telling me we have to still go back somewhere?
Also,
so it's how much
more?
You
know when they explain that future and past you switch places?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in this graph.
Yeah, it does.
No.
Yeah, it does.
Future and past us are not switching places. In fact, past us becomes future us, but then future us becomes middle us, but then middle us then becomes later middle us, and then later middle us becomes first us. Like, there is no switch happening ever.
Yes.
There's no one-to-one switches at any point in this entire diagram. It's a weird rotation.
It switches.
That's not a switch.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It just goes backwards.
No, it's not a switch.
April 13th. 2029. You will return to your younger body.
But that's the same day as the reactor explosions.
Yes. That is why I said it will be too late. You will return to the past, but the events you would want to prevent will have already happened.
Then why the fuck am I gonna go there?
The story does not end there, however. The line continues. After reaching point D, you will eventually return to B. But this time, you won't be jumping through time, or at least not at a rate faster than normal. Your
what a weird sentence.
Will spend 45 years inhabiting the same body.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, we're literally going to go back to D, an arbitrary point where the apocalypse happened, and then just wait until B happens. Because we literally have to live every part of Sigma's life at some point, but we're shuffling them in random directions for reasons that are a little hard to explain.
Okay.
And we have to live it all out in real time.
So we're not the protagonist here.
This is the
protagonist is already gone.
Kind of, yeah. Maybe, or
well,
will be.
No, it's not even a maybe, because another Sigma already lived that life, which means he's already fast-tracked from B down to fucking A.
I think we have to erase... I know that they told us 5 minutes ago, but we already have to ignore a rule they said, because they claimed that we switch.
Yes.
But we don't switch. We literally do this line.
No, I know,
but
we're just in a loop forever.
Yes, what we're doing right now is that part from Last Jedi where Rey is in the thing where she's snapping, and she has to live being every one of those Reys in a row.
I don't remember that, but go on.
You don't remember that part?
No.
The dream sequence thing? Did you watch that movie?
I did, but I ejected most of it by now.
It's kind of a hard scene to forget.
I mean, I remember
weird.
Kylo Ren being shirtless.
There's a whole scene where Rey is doing the part where, like, you know how Luke went to the bog and saw like a dark force vision.
Saw Vader as himself.
He attacks Vader, and Vader's mask opens to be Luke and all that.
Yeah.
Rey did a version of that where she's standing in a line of infinite rays, and when she snaps, all the people down in front of her all snap in order, and then she keeps inhabiting further and further down the line, and she'll see the snapping come from behind her, and then she'll snap when it reaches her, and then it goes past, like, the wave, basically. And it's like she's doing this kind of thing where she's living every part of the timeline.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah. Like, that kind of thing seems to be what this is.
I thought that was like one of those
so,
dumb, like,
as
mirror
per
things.
usual, much like how we seemingly have to ignore what Clover said about people blocking each other because we're apparently batteries instead.
Yeah.
We also have this thing where she said we switch with each other, but we don't. That's literally not true. It's either a mistranslation or a lie or bad writing or something. Because this timeline's actually what happens, which is that we have to physically live through the entire thing in this exact order, which is a nightmare mess.
Good God,
which means that every part of our history, we have to live through at some point.
You know what I'm starting to realize? That
we're living through that explanation of, like, how the Harlan Globetrotters explanation of how to switch people back to their original bodies in Futurama. That this is a game about that.
I'm starting to realize that, like, the only reason this picture exists is because somebody must have asked that guy
of how the fuck it works.
How the fuck this works?
Yeah.
And he drew this literal line monstrosity, and he started explaining it this way, and someone just looked at him and was like, "You just do you, man. I don't even have time."
They're just like, "Fuck it."
Yeah, they're just like, I care about the divergence. I want to know what happens here.
Yeah.
Until you reach point B. Do you remember when B is Sigma?
Yes.
No, he doesn't.
January 25th, 2074. According to what you just told us, it's 36 hours ago.
Correct. That was when the consciousness of the 22-year-old Sigma jumped into the body of 67-year-old Sigma. So where did the older version of you go when you took his body?
Point A. December 25th, 2028, the day all this started.
Yes. His consciousness will go back in time 45 years. For a period of time, he will inhabit your younger body. While your younger consciousness is elsewhere, he will be you in the past.
But once that body reaches point D, my 22-year-old consciousness will come back from that point C.
That's correct. When that happens, the older version of you will be ejected from your younger body and return to your body at C.
So it's rotating?
Rotating. I suppose you could put it that way. But look at this illustration closely. What if you take all these lines and untangle them? You get one single line.
No, you don't.
It may look complicated, but in truth, it's a single straight path.
It's not. It's literally fucking...
I can literally see the split.
Do you not know how fucking line works, you fucking asshole?
It's
Look.
literally one input and two outputs.
Wow.
It's really obvious.
How is there two arrows at the top? Which one's the fucking line?
It's literally not one line.
Done with this. Don't fucking comment on the
clearly
video.
Not true.
Don't fucking bother telling me to explain. It's gonna be explained somewhere because it doesn't. Because the guy can't even fucking draw a line correctly.
With one exception.
Ugh.
This line here, point E, right?
Exactly. Point E is December 31st, 2028. The day of the total eclipse.
Total eclipse of the heart.
The day Radical 6 got out of the test facility.
Yes. By now, you've likely figured it out on your own.
No.
The purpose of the AB project was to get the consciousness of the 67-year-old Sigma from point B to point A. If we can do that, we can change what happened 45 years ago.
So the old version of me will keep Radical 6 from getting out by jumping into the 22-year-old body on New Year's Eve on 2028.
Yes. That is why this line could not be interrupted. In order for the 67-year-old version of you to reach point B, we first have to go through point D. In order to get to point D, we must jump from point C. And for point C to happen, we had to recreate everything that happened in this facility. That is why we have faithfully retraced history up to this point. So that we might save humankind from destruction.
I get it. So that's what we're doing here. So
What?
E is Zero Time Dilemma.
Do you think the next game is E?
Yes.
No! No! It's literally just gonna end and be like, play the next game?
Yeah.
No!
Well, it explains exactly why Sigma would even be in the same room as Junpei, because Junpei was... Because remember, Junpei's part of the original Nevada test site experiment.
No, it can't just end like that.
And so would yeah, and so the problem here is that we would have to play Zero Time Dilemma to figure out how Sigma fixes Radical 6 from coming into existence. Because that's what this straight line is.
Mega complicated explanation is all set up for them to just be like, I'll figure it out next game.
Yeah, because here's the thing, is that E is, because the whole point...
And then for years, they were like, I might not get to make another game, it didn't sell very well. And fans like, no, the franchise is dead.
Because, so the point is that old Sigma's stuck in E, which is when he's going to solve Radical 6 from existing, and when he does, he creates a divergent timeline where Radical 6 never happens, and he lives out the rest of his life as old Sigma.
What happens to the timeline in Zero Time Dilemma in all of the dimensions where Sigma dies? I want to see what that graph looks like then.
I mean, I think at that point...
nightmare. Because he's got to die in tons of timelines. That's how these games work.
Well, if you think about it in a more realistic aspect, there's like... If you looked at the timeline of Zero Escape as a franchise, it doesn't work. Because you have to imagine
also,
there's like...
does Tenmyoji remember being in Zero Time Dilemma?
Yes and no. Because here, well, no,
I feel like we should ask him.
No, seriously, here's the problem: is because Tenmyoji was a part of the Zero Time Dilemma where it failed, where Radical 6 got out.
But he still was in it.
He was in it, but this is not this Tenmyoji is not the Tenmyoji where Zero Time Dilemma succeeded.
But he was in it, presumably.
Yes, but it's not the.
Wouldn't you remember it at least happening?
Well, yeah, I guess, but it would be irrelevant
in that game.
Well, he already hinted that he was there.
We gotta move forward just so we can see whether or not your theory is right.
I'm saying he already hinted he was there.
Did he?
Yes, because when we found the information about the moon, or about the Nevada test site, he said in detail about how he knew about the project. He said he was a part of the project in the Nevada test site. So
But was that in Nevada?
Well, it's fucking
Zero Time Dilemma, I mean.
Yeah. Zero Time Dilemma clearly takes place in Nevada, because remember, we get the voices...
So is Nevada test site pointing at E and not A? Because it looks like it's at A, but A was just us being kidnapped.
Yes, so Nevada test site is E.
That's terrible.
But remember, but no, here's the thing, it already hinted at this, remember, because we had the clip that was, or we had the memory card, and we listened to the memory card,
so this
and
game
it was
is entirely happening so that we can live through this game, then live for 45 years, then skip back in time to experience Zero Time Dilemma.
Yes. No.
As an adult instead of as us.
No. We don't get to do that.
We will.
No. Old Sigma is already doing that right now.
Which will be us.
Which will be us, but not us. The us we're playing right now will not go to Zero Time Dilemma.
Yeah, well, she's literally telling us that.
Later.
Yeah.
But not when we play Zero Time Dilemma.
That's what will means.
Well, I know, but I'm saying not when we play it.
I don't think there's a distinction of who's who. Well, it's all one timeline. Once again, I'm trying to remind you, ignore that line she said about switching. We're all one timeline. She literally just, that was like a shitty misnomer when she talked about the two of us switching, and then we had the big rant of trying to tear apart how that makes no sense and how you can even possibly comprehend what the fuck she just said. That was literally a whole rant about the fact that she was wrong in that sentence and made no sense.
Okay.
Because if you look at this timeline, it's clearly one continuous stream of us living our life. And so there is no switch. Because the switch is two things changing place with each other. Because yeah, she very clearly said that the young and the old switch places with each other.
Yes.
But this diagram she shows to actually show us what happens never does that a single time.
What? Yeah, it does.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it does.
Not the way that she said.
She said
she phrased it as a one-to-one switch, which never happens in this entire game.
Well, she said that A and
instead it's one continuous stream we do in this exact order. That's all it is.
But I'm saying she said A and B swap places. So we're currently at B, or yeah, well, we're currently at C.
We went to B, but B didn't go to A.
No, we went to B. What? What do you mean B didn't go to A? That's what she said. In the beginning of this explanation, she said, look, bring up the thing.
Yeah, B did go to A. You're right.
And so the problem is that, so we're at C right now. We're going to go back to D, then to B, and then we're going to go down to A, and then to E. But theoretically, Old Sigma's already at E right now, creating the divergent timeline. Because that's the point, is that Old Sigma is...
Yeah, but Old Sigma's not a different entity from us.
Well, yeah, but the problem is...
It's just our continuous timeline. Like, we're going to do what he does. Because of the part... Remember how Akane worked, remember?
No, I don't remember because it didn't explain how Akane worked.
No, but just the fact that June was there as an adult...
Yeah.
Like, we have to live out every part of this timeline no matter what.
Because that makes sense.
You don't press a button and then, like, everything unravels and undoes itself and then is just fixed now. In this universe, apparently, when you fix things, you still live out every stage of the process, no matter what.
Great.
So we still have to go through the 45 years, and then we still have to go back to B, back to A, and do the entire thing. Like,
regardless,
as us, and that is the same us.
The whole point I was trying to make was because we had that memory card that had the audio logs from the Nevada test site. When you listen to the audio logs, there's clearly you can hear Phi. It's speaking over the intercom or over the messages. And because you can hear Phi, that assumes, because Phi is in Zero Time Dilemma, that it must take place during the Nevada test site.
You're saying you could hear Phi?
Yeah, you can go back to the video, listen to it. You'll hear Phi speaking inside the...
Did you go back to that?
Yes, I did.
I thought you could only really hear like one voice.
No, you can clearly hear Phi.
But the person speaking wasn't Phi, was it?
I think
the obvious voice, like there was a woman's voice that was talking to us that was like an unrecognized voice.
Yes.
Like a new one.
But you can hear...
Was there background chatter?
I believe so, yeah.
You could hear it over the loud-ass music? Huh.
And undo the horrors of the last 45
maybe I'm crazy. It doesn't fucking matter. That's where it takes place anyways. Don't need to bother. You're not gonna explain what E is? The fucking...
Tell me one thing.
What is that?
You said that point C is January 27th, which is today. There's going to be a jump, and I'll jump to April 13th, 2029.
Yes, that's right.
But look, I'm still old. When is this jump supposed to happen?
Very soon.
Soon?
Yes.
And what's going to trigger it?
We need potential energy stored to send your consciousness into the 4th dimension. Fortunately, we now have plenty of that. Thanks, ironically, to Radical 6. All that remains is to launch your consciousness. like a bullet from a slingshot.
I swear, I'm gonna fucking murder you. Stop.
Slingshot again.
And how do you propose to do that?
Didn't I tell you? A crisis. A moment balanced between life and death.
What are you gonna try to stab us?
Start your brain.
What the fuck does... at this point, we've kind of... all the cards are on the table.
She just like runs up to us and kills us.
What do you mean?
You haven't figured it out.
I'm sick of anyone asking us that question ever in this franchise.
Have you, Akane? Have
Just
you
whenever they're in the middle of explaining their plan, they're like, you haven't figured it out yet?
You know what?
I mean this.
Akane, have you figured out how Ace decided to cure face blindness with morphogenetic fields?
Because
I still haven't figured it out, and until you figure it out, shut the fuck up!
Dio's knife.
Is she gonna stab us?
I guess so.
No sooner were the words out of my mouth.
Oh shit.
How long were you fucking running?
And
Did you hear how many footsteps it took? Someone could have stepped in by that point.
Fie. I screamed and leapt toward them. Akane was already in motion, the knife driving toward Fi's chest. I was almost there, and then to the past. When I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. I felt for a cut, but something was in the way. Took me a moment to realize that it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. On it was written a few words in Latin.
That's like the ending credit music. Could you not play that right now?
It is. Because it's teasing you?
Well, I feel I'm getting a chill down my spine that we're not going
to say to be continued and
just
stop. What you are, I was. What I am, you will be.
We will not black
screen. It's that one really bad puzzle from the worst room of the game.
No! You don't get to just fucking do that!
Wow, it's just ending.
Spoiler alert, I'm not playing Zero Time Dilemma. I'm done with it. Seriously, not done. I'm not fucking doing this.
It just ended.
You don't get to fucking do this twice in a row! Finish your story!
They resolved almost nothing? Like, they resolved just, like, nothing. And most of the story didn't coherently fit together. And the motivation for half of it was, like, a weird nightmare mess. And then it just fucking cliffhanger ends? Holy shit. And we thought the ending was abrupt in the last game, where they're like, lol, not talking about this.
LOL, not gonna explain this. We're just gonna jump 74 years in the future. LOL, never gonna explain 999. LOL, not gonna explain VLR either. LOL, just go fucking play the third game.
Holy fuck. It just ends. Just like that, huh?
Just like that, huh? So explain to me again, in glorious detail, audience members, exactly why do you think Zero Escape's a good game? Because twice now we've played a game where it refuses to explain its own fucking plot, and then when it does try to explain it, most of it is, oh, being condescending, you haven't figured it out yet?
All this setup, and we just outright, like, don't know whose brother, what's up with Free the Soul, like, entire chunks of the story, like,
Keith
didn't get any more development. We just know that there's something called Free the Soul and brother, and then it never progressed from the original explanation, really? And for all I know, they'll just retcon half of it again. Just like Alice.
You know what?
Because they're like, Alice is full of Ice 9 and she's a mummy from the past. Just kidding. We decided to change our minds. And then that doesn't matter now. So, like, any of the storylines they set up in this game could just not matter in the second game.
Well, you know what's nice, Keith? At least now we know exactly why people told us not to read the Golden Files, because the game literally doesn't explain anything beyond the Golden Files. So there's literally no reason to read them, because it literally just tells you all the information the game is willing to even tell you in the first place. And now we're stuck in a situation where we don't know anything. The end.
I really hate Akane. Like, across the board, I really hate her so much.
I don't even hate Akane, I just hate this. The Fi ending, what?
No! We're still not done?
What? What do you mean we're still not? We're 80 hours in. What
We're
in
going
the
even further.
fucking...
Okay, at least it's not... Okay, so they didn't actually pull that. That was a dick move, because that's like the worst way you could end your game. That would have been so fucking awful. Alright, we're gonna take a break, because Andrew's emotionally broken and could use a smoke, but would be RB.
I'm not taking back what I said. I'm not playing Zero Time Dilemma.
We gotta take a break.